Hey everyone, welcome to our small footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a large family living off-grid in Australia. It is Sunday, but it is late on a Sunday because this week has been a bit of a hectic one. Darryl has gone away for a few days. He's not back yet. And we had like 36 hours of really significant rain that of course started at like 9 o'clock at night. So, you know, just having to deal with the leaking roof and the water ingress and making sure that the generator had enough fuel in it to run, because by the next morning, it was overcast, the solar didn't pick up until later in the morning. So because I've got incubators running, we can't risk the power dropping out. So we have to make sure that we run the generator a little bit more than we would normally, just to make sure that the levels of everything are fine, which it's worked out fine. We didn't have any problems and I managed it all and dealt with it, but it was a little bit hectic. And the kitchen flooded still because of course we haven't got the roof finished yet. We did get the C channel put up and everything else, but to get the actual roofing panels up, we need to start first thing on a morning because we have to pull this roof down as we're putting the new roof up. So it's going to be a day where I can't do anything in the kitchen and we need to do it all in one day. So that's a bit of an issue. So we haven't started it yet, but hopefully this week. Hopefully, fingers crossed. It's getting too hot otherwise, and then we'll be stuck again. We have, I don't think I said, Sunday videos, normally just a squirrel about everything that's gone on for the week. So I'm going to discuss a bunch of things with you. Actually, I need to decide what I'm doing for dinner. I haven't pulled anything out. And I was actually contemplating pizza, and I know I make pizza dough on here all the time. But we haven't had pizza in a couple of weeks. Actually, I haven't had it since we came back. So I think I want to do pizza. It's nice and warm today, so it's going to proof really quickly. So while I'm chatting to you, I'll probably make pizza dough. But Sundays are all about just catching up on the week and things that have happened during the week that I've thought about that I want to share, or accomplishments or changes or plans or whatever else. So that is what our chat is about. But I do think I'll make pizza. So I think I'm just going to pull everything together so that I can get the dough going, and then that way it can proof and I can continue the discussion while it's proofing, sort of thing. So give me a minute. Unfortunately, I left my good book out here when it rained, and the pages are damp. Hopefully I've had it drying out and it seems to be recovering. And it is a kitchen book. It's not like it's that big a deal, but at the same time, it doesn't look like anything's stuck together, or there is some smudging, but it'll be fine. So what am I doing? I'm going to do some pizza dough, my standard pizza dough recipe that everyone really who has tried has raved about. And I'm so glad, because it took me so long to find exactly what I wanted in a pizza dough. But I don't think I've got it up on the website yet, do I? I forget. I really need to, because a lot of people ask me for these recipes and then rave about them, make them. A lot of people share them, like they make them and they share them on Facebook. And then people say, you know, where'd you get the recipe from? And if I had it directed to the website, there's the potential eventually for the website to earn money as well. A lot of people, that's where they earn some income too. But I have a lot on. YouTube is by far my biggest income earner out of the scope of things that I earn income from. Converting between Darryl and I probably is on par, like the two of us, between the two of us, we can probably earn similar sort of money as well. So they're our two main focuses. And the thing is that both of them have timelines. Like video wise, I have to get a couple of videos out a week. Otherwise it screws with the algorithm, and because people get worried and stuff like that. And then the conversions are done on a timeline as well, because we quote to the client and then we say how long it's going to take. And then we have to, you know, within that scope of timeline, we have to present the finished project as well. So because these two things are already earning an income, they tend to take priority, which is, you know, completely understandable. But it also means that we don't give the other things that have the potential to be income earning a fair go to get to income earning, because we don't have the time. It's one of those catch-22s. It's like when you work full-time and you've got a side hustle, and then your side hustle is doing well. So you're working, you know, 2 lots of full-time hours, but the side hustle isn't earning quite enough to compensate for the to lose the full-time income, but you have to take that leap and you have to quit the full-time job so that you can focus on the side hustle, because the side hustle will never grow until you've got the time to put in it. So sometimes it's a bit like that. YouTube is what I focus on because it's consistent income, so long as I am consistent with it, and it's already established, and the converting's a bit the same. Darryl has worked hard for many years to build up a client base who knows him and who approaches him with work. He doesn't have to go looking for work, generally speaking, anymore. They approach us and then we schedule them in and quote them accordingly. And we've even taken on some subcontractors to help with the workload. But they're the two things that tend to take priority because they're already established, and therefore they're a sure thing as such. The website and stuff, again, has the potential to earn money if I put the time into it, but I have to find the time to put into it that isn't actually earning money yet. Does that make sense? It's a hard one. So all that to say, I really do need to get more recipes up on the website. These ones that I have, this is final. Like, this was worked on for probably years, to be honest, until I tried all these different versions. I tried everyone else's recipes. I adapted this and that, and this works. This is exactly what I make every time we have pizza. I don't change it. So it's like my brioche hamburger rolls, same thing. That's why they went up on the website, because I did them for years, ones with eggs, ones without, different ratios of milk to water and all the rest of it. And now if I'm making hamburger buns, that's the only recipe I use because it is perfect. It works every time. I'm super happy with it and all the rest of it. So these ones that I'm solidly, happy with, I really need to get up. Anyway, this is the standard pizza dough that I do: 700 grams of water, 50 grams of oil, 30 grams of salt, 10 grams of yeast. You can bump it if it's a cool day, 20 grams of sugar, and about 1150 grams of bread flour. And this makes approximately 8 250 gram balls. So I'm just going to get this kneading. Larger Canberra container is actually in the fridge with something in it. So I'm going to split it into the two because otherwise it'll just pop the top off it. Because we want it to get fairly nice and proofed, because then we punch it down and stick it in the fridge until we use it. So we like it to get fairly significantly proofed initially. So because this makes 8 250 gram balls, there should be 2 kilos in here, theoretically. So I should be able to put a kilo in each. That's 1.1, so I can pull some out of that one. Might not need to be split, but better safe than sorry. And that's 800. So yeah, about the 200 from this. And we should be good to split them both into 4. All right, I lightly greased the containers, so I'm just going to bring it into sort of that. Now, I reckon I probably could get away with it both in one container. Maybe I'm thinking of a different dough that I make. I reckon it'll be fine in one. So there we go. That is going to proof. I'm thinking, because I've already got the bowls dirty and this is pre-greased and everything, I might just do a second batch of pizza dough up, because once it's shaped and in the fridge, it can be used tomorrow and we can have something with it, or even make dessert pizzas or something. I don't know. We don't have any bread products made at the moment. I don't have much pulled out of the freezer, so I think I'm going to do that, even if I freeze this batch, because we trialed that, freezing them in balls, and whilst it was a lot of work, and I don't know that it's superb, the pizza that the frozen balls made when they were frozen and then brought back up to temperature were really, really nice. And it's getting warmer during the day. Like, we got forecasts of like 32, 33 later on in the week. So it should only take an afternoon for them to come up to temperature and proof again, if that was the case, or pulling them out, putting in the fridge. We still haven't tested that out real well. So because I've got a dirty bowl, dirty hook, and a extra grease bowl, I'm going to do another batch. I may as well. So I'm just going to do the whole process again. Alrighty, 2 lots of that dough done. I've left them up on top of the oven at the moment because I don't want them to go too fast, but I might stick them in with the pilot light on depending on the sun's coming and going. So it's not cold, but it's not hot either. So we'll just see what they do, when I might need to stick them in the oven with the pilot light on, because I didn't use overly warm water because I didn't want them to like overproof too quickly. But it is 20 past 1 in the afternoon, so I am doing things a little late. So back to that whole, side hustle discussion. The website's definitely something that I need to focus on a little bit more because it's complementary to what I'm doing, and it has the potential to earn some money. It's a little bit like all the Amazon affiliate links and stuff that a lot of people make a fair bit of money out of. I always forget to link anything, and I forget to mention it, and I forget to share the things that I get from Amazon, and then the links, and then there's the whole US thing. I have to do a US link for US affiliate, AU links for AU affiliates, and it's all just a lot of work, so I don't do it. But I know that it has the potential to earn income, and I know that it is complementary to YouTube, and YouTube is the main thing. So I do need to work on that. And part of that was I was thinking about the videos that I'm getting out. So I used to do 4 or 5 a week, and then I dropped it back to 3 a week, and I was able to do that because I was earning similar income since I had the back catalogue and stuff to drop it down to 3. Now, I have only been getting 2 to 3 out a week, and the income from YouTube has decreased because of that, but I'm okay with it because I need that little bit of extra time, and that's the whole thing. If I get 2 videos out a week, then I have a bit more time to spend on some of those other side things, some of the things like putting the recipes out, doing a bit more converting. But also there's the designing and the art and stuff like that. I do that for fun. Yes, I make a little bit of money out of it. It's very, very minimal in the scheme of everything else I make, unless I push it. So like last Christmas, I did pretty good because I did this big Christmas launch and really, really pushed it. But since then, I haven't pushed anything, and I get very few orders coming through, which also to say that there's a couple of stars orders that were for the US, and I couldn't post them because the US tariffs, postal issues. And I don't think I've emailed you because I'm really slack. But they have lifted that sort of. We now have to go through a third party, and we have to pay the tariffs for under $800 shipping valued items. But on this end, which was part of the problem, apparently they want us to pay the tariffs on this end, not the other end. Anyway, apparently it's all fixed from next week. So I should be able to get those in the post, which is fantastic. And still plenty of time for Christmas. So hopefully US shipping will be sorted by next week, but we will see how that goes. I have been doing the 3D stuff because I enjoy it. And if I make some money off it, then all I'm going to be doing is paying for the hobby, basically. So anything I sell will basically just pay for the machines and the filament and stuff that I make stuff for us. So like Sonnet is going to do a market in town in October. They have I don't know what it is, to be honest. It's Darryl found out about it through the church and stuff and said that there's a market. Sonnet wanted to do it. That's fine. So he will take her to that market to do the day. And she makes paracord key rings. And she was doing bracelets and stuff too, but she's really focused on the key rings now. I'll grab a couple things, just wait. So she makes these paracord key rings, and I bought her some pretty different colored metal things, and then she's left some with different lengths of gaps so that she could have ones with single letters or ones with names, and we're going to do some shapes. She's deciding what shapes and stuff she wants. So I've been designing the beads in the right shape to fit her key rings. I've been doing these letters and having to, learn how to shape the letters and extrude the letters and have the holes the right size for the cord and all that sort of thing. So we've been working on those and figuring out the way the beads needed to work to be able to go onto the cords and to print properly and everything else. Now, I have had a couple of comments. I don't know if it's been multiple people or not, but I have had a couple of comments about the 3D printing and the, plastic usage and all the rest of it. And I completely understand where you're coming from. But some of the things this is for Sonnet, basically. This is a fun thing to personalize these key rings that she enjoys making and wants to sell for a couple of bucks to run a market stall. And it's all about the experience of running the market stall and paying for the market stall and all that sort of thing. And I make some stuff that's completely pointless, some decorative stuff. Like I have because it's Halloween, people have got all these Nightmare Before Christmas characters and stuff. And the guy that does these, they're called chunks. It's all different characters. I've got a Jack Skellington as well. And I'm making Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one. And part of that's because they look really cool and we just want them on the shelf. But the idea was that if I make them all, I can send them with her to the market stall. She can have them on her stall, which will look nice. If they sell, they sell. If they don't, I was making them for myself anyway. So I'm not, churning out extra things. But the whole purpose of the 3D printing was not only to make the decorative stuff, because that is very cool, but also to make the practical stuff. So I made the little clips that hold all our bookcases together, but I also designed, when we did the back patio with the palings, we wanted them all 10 mil apart and the same height. So what I did was I modeled a little divider. So it had, I don't know where it's ended up, but it had a flat piece with a middle piece, and the middle piece went between the two palings and was 10 mil wide. And then the flat piece held them in the right spot. And it was the exact height from the top rail to where the point of the shoulder of the paling was, so that we could line them all up the same height, have them all the same distance and everything else. So I designed and printed that in a morning when we started building the fence, and then realized, hang on, we need something this isn't working. How are we going to get it even? So there's the practical aspects of it. I can print out hose fittings. So if we can't find a hose fitting somewhere, I can print a hose fitting out, and then we can use a hose fitting. Flanges for the water transfer hoses, as well as like quick connect type hoses. And we have extra gaskets for the quick connects as well. So you can print out a quick connect and put a gasket on it, and you've got a printed hose fitting in 15-20 minutes. Now, that might not be something that would appeal to everyone, because, you know, they might have a Bunnings 15-20 minutes down the road, but we're in the middle of nowhere. So it's handy for us to be able to do that kind of thing. So I really like that idea. And so because of that, I have been studying Fusion 360 and CAD and all the rest of it. I already had some in it because I do the laser cutting and things like that. So I've had more in Illustrator than the actual CAD programs, because everything that I've been doing so far has more been 2D rather than 3D. So creating the 3D has been, you know, something else I've done. So of course there's the toilet roll tissue holders that I've discussed many times, and plenty of people are really interested in these. And I didn't realize how many other people use toilet paper as tissues. But I've been creating the patterns and then making them seamless and then extruding them with detail around a circular object. But I also created the threads. So I learned how to create the threads on the top of it and on the inside of the lid so that it screws together, and then had to get the sizing right. And then the next thing I started doing is, because I wanted to personalize them a little bit more. So if I'm going to be selling these, then I want them to have a little bit of me, I suppose. So I started working out how to put words on top. So this one here, let me see if I can rotate it the right way. Where are we? So this one says, because tissues are just fancy toilet paper, around the top. So I've got a few different sayings that I'm working out. It takes me a little bit of time to get the text correct. But now that I've sort of got it, it was a lot of fails, but now that I've sort of got it nailed down, it's a bit easier. So I need to make prototypes of each of these so that people can buy them if they want to. We have numerous ones scattered around the house that have been fails because everyone wants one on the desk. Everyone normally comes to my desk or Darryl's desk to grab the toilet paper out of the tissue holder. So it works. And it means that someone doesn't go and grab the end of a roll of toilet paper to blow the nose, puts that end of a roll of toilet paper down, and it's never been seen again. If you put a roll in the toilet roll holder, then it's in there and it's done and it's perfect. So these containers, of course, can have closed lids as well if you wanted them for something like that. And we can have different sayings on them that are not relevant to toilet paper. But for the moment, the whole purpose of these was that practicality of the fact that Darryl and I used toilet paper as tissues, and the rolls were just getting dirty all the time because they would roll around on a dirty desk or they'd fall on a floor or something, and it was really frustrating. So this came about. I did find the idea for this online, of course, but then because I wanted to learn CAD and I wanted to figure things out and I wanted to potentially offer them for sale, I designed the whole thing myself so that I could. Now, the chunks and things like that, obviously, I dropped his spider. Obviously, these things are made by a third party, and I do have licensing to sell these. The licensing allowed me to download them, so paying the licensing allowed me to purchase them as well, which is cheaper than purchasing them individually, is what it comes down to. So that's why I did that. And I may have a collection of them going, and I may offer some for sale, but I just print them as you want them rather than printing something for no reason. So I basically will probably end up with a full collection of my own on shelves because they're just very cool. And then have some photos of them. And if people happen to want them, then that's fine. I'm printing out the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at the moment. I don't know if I mentioned that because I really like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they even have a bus. So that'll be pretty cool. But I think I've shown you before Darryl's Mario Kart. So is a Mario sitting in a Mario Kart. So, you know. And then there's little things like this. Now, this is a little lantern. Because the market is near Halloween, I thought I'd print a few of these up. So this is a purchased pattern, but they allow you to do certain things with it. So I could probably make my own panels as well, not just the ones that they offer. And you put a battery operated tea light in the bottom, and then it lights up like a little lantern. So I think that that's really cool. I wanted these for us for home because this sort of thing is cool. And I actually bought some rechargeable LED tea lights as well, as some battery operated ones to offer at the market stall if Sonnet wants to take some of these, and the rechargeable ones for me, because they come in sets of 12 and they're expensive, so most people aren't going to want to purchase it, and I'd have to find a wholesaler if I was going to on-sell them, so because they're just too expensive. But if I just buy the LED tea lights in bulk, and then they can go with the things. So, you know, I just thought I'd mention that. Yes, I understand the people's issue with that it's more plastic. I totally get it. But sometimes hobbies are that's what it is, sort of thing. So, you know. Anyway, what else do we have to discuss? Because of all that rain, I went out to check my raspberry canes yesterday, and we have leaves on them, so that is fantastic. So they are doing well. We are organising, at the moment we don't have easily accessible water to that garden because we didn't really use it last year. So we moved the tank that was there when the other tank broke to replace the other tank. But we had to replace the IBC that we used to cart water with because it's got a big crack in the top of it. But that won't matter because we don't have to fill it all the way up if we're going to use it for the garden. So we've got a stand over there. So I'm going to put the old IBC over there and then hook up some water. We have a 12 volt, 12 litre a minute pump. So I can just use a battery box or a minimal invertery thing, or one of the Bluetti, or so we use the Bluetti on the 12 volt pump for the kids, for when the kids are watering on the other side. And so long as we get it working properly and charged each day on the solar, then it can be used for both, because it's going to charge up more than enough to use the 12 volt pumps. They're only a 7 amp pump, so they don't take much power at all, which is good. And it means too, I was thinking about it because of the drip irrigation is always better than direct hose irrigation because it gets to the soil, it doesn't wet the plants. And we tried to set up drip irrigation last year through the gardens. We were going to have like the big blue buckets that we're going to feed them, and then we couldn't. Then we put the beds were a bit too close together, and we couldn't fit the buckets. And then we couldn't. There was a lot of things that we tried and it didn't manage. But with those little 7 amp 12 volt pumps, I was thinking I could set up individual irrigation on each bed, which solves a lot of the problems of trying to, you know, have irrigation that runs between beds and up and down and all the rest of it. If each set was just like 4 strips in each 3.2 meter bed, and all I did was I plugged that 12 volt pump into the drip irrigation for 15 minutes, set a timer on my phone, did weeding or walked away and came back in the next 15 minutes and swapped it to the next one. We could easily run that 12 volt pump for that amount of time on the solar, no problem whatsoever. So I think that's what I'm going to plan to do, but we will see how we go. We have most of the gear already to do it, so it should be pretty easy to do. I bought some strawberry runners. So I've got a dozen strawberry runners that I'm going to put in pots before I put in the ground because they're only very small. And it will be easier to keep the water up to them and things like that. I'm going to put them on the back patio probably. And so I'm going to pot them up. The kids took my potting table for me around from the old garden space to the back deck so that I can access that easily, which is great. I still haven't really started any seeds, and that's it. I'm running really late, but we have a long hot season, so it should be fine. I really do need to start some though. And then we were going to do some hydroponics and stuff, some rainwater gutters and things like that. So that's the plan still. We will see how we go. We are lucky that that we have a long summer, because it means that even though getting started late, that it's fine. We don't generally get our first frost until May. So, you know, we've got a good 6 months, even if I didn't start in November. So, you know, we should be fine. We're in the middle of September, so it should only take 4 weeks for things to be plant outable too, because it's already hot. That's the other thing. I used to start my seeds early and I used the hothouse, but the thing is that you start them earlier, they take longer. Realistically, like if I start my seeds when it's still cold, then it's 8 weeks before they're ready to plant out. But if I start my seeds when it's already warm, then it's only 4 weeks before I can plant them out. So there's pros and cons to both approaches. It's quantity as well. Like when I was doing them in the hothouse, I was doing hundreds and hundreds of seedlings, and you needed to start them earlier and cycle them through, and cold versus hot and all the rest of it. But on the small scale that I'm doing it this year, not going to bother. So the fruit trees as well, after the geese got to them, we've got some leafing on them, which is great. The 2 small ones, these were like, I got like 4 established large bare roots and 2 small ones, and the 2 small ones took the brunt of it because they were lower, and neither of them are looking real great, but we will just feed them and see how they go. And then but the bigger ones have all started leafing up, so that's great. We're just putting them in pots at the moment on the back patio away from the geese, until we figure out exactly where we want to plant them. So that is the job for the roof, and figuring out the garden is the next couple of weeks' job. It is school holidays for the next couple of weeks, so the kids don't have to attend live classes, but we're playing catch up still. So the thing with the schooling is that because of the way it's done, the new distance ed schooling, they attend live classes, and it's taking up time that they're attending these live classes. That's fine, except that normally that would have been time that I would have spent with them as well. And what we're finding is that they're attending the live classes, but they're not actually doing anything. So they're sitting through 45-minute classes and participating, but none of the work that's assigned during the class are they actually doing during the class, and they don't seem to be taking anything away from it. They're listening, but they're not hearing. So what I've done is I've gone through the whole term's worth of work and pulled and written down every single page of workbooks that they were supposed to have done throughout the term. And then what we're going to do over the next 2 weeks is go through every single one of those worksheets. Because we got to the end of the term and we're sitting there doing assessments and stuff, and they don't remember doing any of the stuff that they had done, even though it's right there in front of them that they did it in class. So obviously it's still just a pivotal thing, like a change from how we were doing it to the new way is always going to be difficult. There's always change, is always challenging. And then figuring out, and I've been really frustrated with it, but at the same time I have to remind myself that we have been homeschooling for minimum 5 years with the age of the children, and we've only been doing this distance ed for a term and a half, 14 weeks. So it's frustrating. I'm so frustrated with how it's not working for us and how I'm still having to figure it out, and teachers on my back and all the rest of it about work not submitted at the right rate that they require it, and all the rest of it. But we've only been doing it for 15 weeks versus, 15 years, close to 15 years, realistically, that I have been homeschooling in various ways from kindy all the way through. I've been homeschooling children for the last 13, 15 years. And we've only done 15 weeks of this new style. And I am being very, very hard on myself about it, I think. Darryl had a go at me about it. But I just, it's still difficult. So we're getting there, but it is just so very, very different from what we were doing. And I'm having less ability to directly supervise what they're doing because they're all doing it on different timelines. They don't all do English at the same time, and they don't all do maths at the same time, and they have different subjects on different days, whereas we used to sort of work that all together, and now it's spread out. So they do have the option of watching the lessons recorded rather than live. There is no participation or interaction then if they do that, though. So it's trying to get that balance of what's going to work. So we're still getting there. It's still a work in progress. I did show on Facebook this morning, I have my first 2 incubators. The eggs have gone into lockdown today, so it's day 19. So from day 1 to 18, the eggs get rotated as they're incubating, and the humidity stays low. We've got Morans in there, so we've got dark coloured eggs, so we want sort of a 25-35% humidity in there. So they've had the day 1 to 18 at the 25 to 35% humidity, rotating regularly. And now it's day 19, so I have pulled the rollers out, so they're no longer rotating. They just sit stationary, and that's to allow the air pocket to position itself for hatching purposes. And the humidity gets bumped up to 50 to 65% to allow for the chicks to hatch. So we've got, I put 24 eggs in the 2 incubators, and I think I ended up with 21 or 20. That did fine. So we candled them at 7 days, we candled them at 14 days, and then I didn't actually candle them when I pulled them out this morning. I just left them go, but they all felt nice and heavy. So we will see what we get out of those ones, and that is a mix of eggs. So we've got some Well Summers, some Morans, some Aracunas, some silver-laced Wyandottes. Didn't get any Hamburg eggs, but we have been trying to collect some Hamburg eggs now because our main mated Hamburg pair free range, and so we didn't know where she was laying, but we've found where she's nesting. So we've got a few Hamburg eggs that we're going to try and put in the next round. I also have some bantam eggs coming that I purchased, some fertile bantam eggs, because Sonnet would really like some more small chickens. But yeah, so those 24 should hatch. 20 odd should hatch in the next few days, which will be fun, and then we'll clean the incubators out and go again. I do have a second incubator there, so I have the 2 12 egg incubators, and I bought them from Amazon. I'll put a link to them for you, an affiliate link even, that someone suggested these cheap Amazon incubators, said they had really good success with these cheap Amazon incubators, this particular brand with a particular decal on the top. And I thought, hey, I'll give them a go, because we bought a slightly more expensive cabinet incubator last year and not happy with it at all, really not happy with it. We used to use the Januels, which are a hit and miss. We had a couple of good seasons out of them, and then we're really struggling. We cannot keep the humidity even. It just really not working. And I use a external hygrometer and everything too. So this year we bought a Nurture Right as the replacement for the more expensive cabinet one that wasn't working. Got it on pre-order a while ago, paid it off. And I haven't used it yet because I was waiting on the bantam eggs, because I was the fertile eggs that you purchase are more expensive than using your backyard chicken eggs, aren't they? So I wanted to put the bought ones in the Nurture Right rather than the backyard ones, but they haven't turned up yet. So it's been sitting idle, which is annoying because we'd be right at the end of a hatch. I could have used it, but anyway. So the cheapy Amazon ones that I bought, they're only like 50 AUD each, and I put just eggs from our own hens. And as I said, I've got 20 out of the 24 that have come to look like they should hatch. So we will see how they hatch. But the humidity has been pretty easy to control. The temperature has been, because the little hygrometer has a temperature gauge on it as well, the temperature seems to have held pretty stable. I'm really happy with them for $50 each. And it's kind of nice doing lots of 12. So the Nurture Right is a 22 egg incubator, though you can do 30 bantam eggs. That was actually something else I was going to mention when I was doing the talking about the 3D stuff, is that I've printed out a new roller for the Nurture Right. So it's one of the rings that goes in it that rolls the eggs, that has 30 spaces rather than the 22, so that we can do more bantam eggs in there. Because you can fit 30 bantam eggs, but you can only fit 22 chicken eggs, or they can print like one that has 7 geese eggs, or things like that. So that was the other thing I used the 3D printer for, was to create the pieces, the modular pieces that are customized for things like that. But yes, the cheap incubators, they're looking really good. So I'll link them, and I'll keep you updated on the hatching of them, of that as well. Lastly, that I was going to say, which I think I started saying before, and squirreled as I do, 2 videos a week is sort of all I'm managing at the moment. And what I think I'll do is basically it'll be, sometimes there might be 3, it just depends on what happens in the week. But what I think that they'll end up being is this Sunday catch up of whatever happens. I normally walk you through the gardens and things like that as well. It's really hot and it's late. I need to film the gardens first thing in the morning or late at night. We'll see how we go. I might show you some stuff this afternoon. Actually, I might log off and then if I can, I'll show you this afternoon, because I'm going to repot all those strawberries and stuff up too. So normally gardens, and normally I cook something sort of thing while I'm doing it, and that sort of thing. But this Sunday chat sort of catch up and quick Q&A, if there's any questions that get asked, I try and answer them. And then the other video, basically the rest of the week put into one video sort of thing, like a little bit like a what we eat in a week every week, except it's not. It's about what I prep and what I make and what I trial and what I, that sort of thing. So I'm going to do all the Ninja Creamies probably tomorrow now. And because I need to do it fairly early in the day, because I need to cook all the custards in the Thermomix and stuff too. So I need to have the power to be able to do that, as well as mix up some of the mix-up ones that aren't cooked custard and things like, and make some smoothie pops and stuff. So I might do that as a whole day thing, and that might end up being its own video because it's a big thing. But in general, I make all the different meals throughout the week, or like I've got to make some sausage rolls, and I've got to make something else with pork mince, maybe spring rolls, maybe and so that'll just be what the week is. It'll just be a mishmash of everything else that goes on in the week, in mostly kitchen wise, and then these Sunday videos will be sort of everything else. I think that's how I'm going to work it for the moment and see how it goes. I would like to say I'll put them out on specific days, but I'd be kidding both of us. So we will see how we go. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to... The first dough that I made has already doubled, and the second one hasn't. And there wasn't that long between them, but it's a bit odd. But anyway, I'm going to shape that shortly. I'll do some really quick clips in here, probably just with some music of shaping them and placing them. And then I'll show the food at the end, but I might come back to and show you some garden stuff later in the afternoon. But if not, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video. The neighbours don't live at their property. They only come every couple of weeks, sometimes every weekend, and they're here for a few days. So they've just pulled up, so the dogs go rank. And now this is great because it means that if anyone's there and they shouldn't be, the dogs go rank. I check with the neighbour and see if they're there. But it does mean that for the next few days, they will just randomly start barking because they suddenly realise that someone's there again. Anyway, I just want to say I'm shaping the dough. We did decide with the new pizza oven, you just have to ignore the dogs, that 200 is a better size than 250 for the pizza peel and the shape and size of the new pizza oven. So all I'm doing is splitting them into the 200 grams. So we just put the dough, and then we're just going to put it into a smooth ball like normal. And we're just going to cover in semolina and stick it in the plastic container. I have some, I need to get them on Amazon. I have in my list of things to buy some white food grade dough proofing containers, because these are just plastic, you buy them at the cheapy store. We use them for stationery, we use them for all sorts of things, lids, for everything, and realistically I probably shouldn't be using them for food, but it's being cooked, and it is what it is. So, but there is some nice white dough proofing containers on Amazon on my list that I need to buy as one of the next things that I grab. So, but anyway, I'm just going to split it all up into 200 gram balls and get it all stashed in the fridge. So I brought the potting table out this way. It really needs a sand and a stain, mind you, but we brought it out this way, and I've got some seedlings started. Now, I didn't buy any extra seeds this year, so everything here is what I've saved, the seedlings that I purchased through QPS, the strawberry starters and things like that, and any other seeds or stuff that I've either saved or I just had left over. So I've overplanted because the seeds aren't going to be super fresh, but this is the start of it anyway.